really put the weight where you want it to go. And not just where you think it's going.
Part of this is also breaking your foot up too.
Yeah,
right?
of course. That's, way down there. Like that. But we walk in them every day.
So we could call this denumbing the foot. Taking the numbness out of the bottom of the foot and trying to figure out how it works and what's making contact.
Awesome. But there's also this balance part of it too.
Yes. And what you'll notice in particular on the balance is where your head is.
Having them uneven is
Monty's watching a learning
different
video about the
experience.
ABC.
Heal 33 days,
Mhm.
fall 34 days,
Yeah.
rinse and repeat
That's pretty
2 more times.
Yeah, all right.
It's just a little lost.
Alright.
Well put.
Sunday? Anybody?
Are we doing all the different parts right now? The feet?
We're doing the middle. Everybody should get the middle in and then we'll go to the heel. If you cheat, you get points off. Yeah.
Already started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went from middle to ball.
That's like in the side.
Is it good?
50
It's a lot
demerits.
better than that.
50 demerits.
We need to put little stones on the top to really get into all the points.
Watch the ceiling there, Jen.
Electrify them. That'll wake them up.
Crazy or what?
Hook up some leads to a battery on them.
Yeah, it would be
Uh-huh.
crazy.
Honey,
Usually lift up a car and see the people.
You're gonna take like a million pictures like that. He's like,
Oh,
"Bye."
is that what
Come
that
here,
is?
bring it
That's the
up.
motor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that motor.
Just put it in.
Oh, that's the motor.
You went from
Balance is hard.
So
Mhm.
everybody else sleeps really well last night.
till the cat woke me up.
Oh, the cat, huh?
You're lucky it wasn't a baby.
What was the cat's meowing? Needed to go out. It happens every.
That's why we just leave ours out.
Yeah, we just kick them out.
Yeah, but ours comes back and all bloody. Like,
Really? Oh, we don't have any cats up here, I don't think.
But.
ours has a lot of concentric rings of territory. So,
I used to have a cat door and I woke up one night hearing the cat food crunching. And then I rolled over and the cat was right next to me. I was like, oh yeah. And I went down, there's a big old raccoon in the kitchen. This big. I just started clapping the hands and it took off.
Wow.
Slowly.
Pretty wimpy raccoon. Usually it takes a shotgun to get rid of them.
They act like a dog pretty much. Just kind of slow and lazy.
Uh-huh.
So weird. I thought she'd be like 5.
no, she's losing her teeth.
Jeez, she's getting old, huh?
You lose your teeth.
You could say that.
This reminds me of those stones
Yeah.
in Taiwan.
Oh, like in the gardens and the parks?
In the gardens and
Yeah.
parks, yeah. It's just like that. Very therapeutic. But those of you that haven't been to Taiwan, they set up this a long ramp, I guess. It's, it's not going up or down usually, but and they take these really smooth river rocks and they plant them in the cement with the
Sticking up.
end sticking up. And they're all sitting right next to each other really tight. And they just take off their shoes and start walking on these things, maybe, 50 yards long. Maybe less. I was thinking some big ones, probably 50 yards. And they'll just go back and forth, just talking, having a conversation. And I walked on it for like 2 minutes. I was like, ow!
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Just
wakes your feet up.
Oh man.
Yeah, it takes a while to get used to how sensitive the feet are and how long it took to build up tolerance to sharp stones and whatnot.
I see kids like walking on glass and stuff.
Yeah.
Their
It takes a while. Just jump straight into that.
Yeah.
Arch support.
Yeah, we're switching up.
The majority of shoes
Heels
that
are
you
the
go
worst.
shop, like if you go shoe shopping, you're a woman.
Yeah,
Most
it's
of the
the
shoes are
hardest to buy.
absolutely have no consideration whatsoever.
But it's
for
also,
comfort.
it's where I
That's how you
where
know
I'm
work.
getting
Yeah.
toe boxes.
Yeah, what I notice is that
Yeah,
I
they're
just,
very,
I
very
can't really sink through one, whereas I'm basically standing on one leg the entire time, even when I try to shift weight to the other side. It's
Yeah, you
not
look like
really,
you're on this side, huh?
yeah, it's not really opening through. Right now. It's like stuck.
Something else is on the squat on these, because you're elevated, you can let your butt down further, even past your heels.
So all you're going to do is try to take the weight out of one leg without doing this. Remember we said we're not doing that, and we're also not doing this with the shoulders. So you can't do any of that. So how are you going to take the weight out? Well, in Tai Chi, you know, it's all about that yin and yang business. So what we say is just relax one leg. Just imagine the weight just coming out as you relax it. And that will slowly shift your weight into the other leg. So you're not pushing off with the leg. You're just taking the weight out. You can go back and forth as you need. So you also don't want to go up and down.
Mm-hmm.
In Tai Chi, you don't go up and down because this is also telegraphing, isn't it? Right? If you bob your head, you know, sometimes they use that as a feint in boxing, but for us, first you have to learn how to not do it before you learn how to do it. Right? So you want to keep that back really straight. So now I want everybody to bring your thighs forward. So I want both of your thighs vertical. This is very important.
And be aware of the hamstrings
Yeah.
and the tailbone.
And your ankles.
Yeah.
So what will limit your thighs coming forward is the flexibility in your Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, you know, also very important. This is the stretch in Tai Chi. This is the stretch. Okay. So the more you can bend those ankles, as you can see from the side, the more I'm going to be able to bring my thighs forward. And when my thighs come forward, my legs are parallel or perpendicular to the floor. I'm my tailbone then drops perpendicular to the floor. As soon as my thighs come back, my tailbone comes up. You see the relationship there?
Mm-hmm.
So this is very important. Now, you can't do any of this to shift across either. Because then the whole body's compromised, whereas this tailbone coming up. The whole body then telegraphs that little bit of movement in the tailbone.
Now, if the man is close, when that tailbone goes back, that's the entry for the hip throw.
Right. This is where all the grappling comes in Taiji. That's precisely, it's against wrestling, this Taiji actually, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it looks like what the form assumes is the man is pretty good at wrestling.
Very good. So you learn how to root, you learn how to absorb their attack and then turn or shift or step or what do you know, any myriad of possibilities. But first you have to learn the basics, which is just shifting from one leg to the other without doing this, without doing that, without doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I feel your lower back?
Yeah, go ahead. So you don't want, it's not tight either, so the lower back shouldn't feel like it's being pulled. You just relax it. And then you just move across and just take the weight out very gently. Right, so you're trying to line up your, you're trying to line up your body with this point they call the bubbling well.
Do you have your weight there?
Yeah, you're trying to put your thighs right forward so your tailbone lines up with that bubbling well.
But that would bring your knees over your toes.
Yes, your knees are over your toes in this position.
In this position they are.
In this position. The other positions are different. But this position is actually very easy for us.
And as the tailbone goes down, you'll get a stretch on the patella and the attachments in the pelvis.
What's
Okay.
important is it develops the top of the thigh.
Okay.
And this is usually very weak in people. And this is where Mabu learns to
The horse
get their
stance.
strength.
The horse stance is simply a bigger version
And we're
of
going to
that.
do that in a second, but I want you to just try on your own. Just go across.
Perception. But what happens with the field perception is it usually drops off the head if they're kicking. In other words, a boxer will frame in the head to the here.
Right.
But as soon as they start kicking, that window will slide down.
Okay.
And it's a different set of receptors. You have to use different receptors if your attention goes off the boxing window.
Right.
Because as soon as the low kicks begin, you've got to almost triple your window perception. And you get into this sticky feet thing, because
Yeah.
you know he can kick me in the leg.
Right.
So I now have to become aware of what's happening down there.
Okay.
When that happens, the stance immediately becomes more compact.
Right.
And the rule becomes more and more the same as Western boxing or Taiji, which is the rear toes up to the front heel. The stance becomes more and more compact because now you have to be able to single weight as soon as possible, because he is now kicking you in the foot or the ankle or hitting you in the head. So all of the expanded postures begin to shore up because there's simply no time to retract anything. So you'll notice that there is agreement on stance and position eventually. One can't say to the other, we don't have that, once the conditions are met. It's a question of target. So if he can hit me in the head, now I've got to have my head protected. If he can kick me in the foot, now I've got to have my foot protected too. And now it starts to look more like kickboxing, especially when you add the high kicks. And hopefully at that point, everybody will have the instinct to step laterally and not stand in front and try to duke it out. Does that make sense to you guys? Because if you stand in front to duke it out, the guy with the longest arms generally is the one that wins because he can get there ahead of you. You see it? So sooner or later you compensate for the length of the arm by moving laterally. The smaller you are, the easier it'll be because you'll be under the arm and he'll have to punch down. So it'll be this kind of thing. Then you'll see the efficacy of all these low kicks. Okay. So that's where we're at with it. Let's look at the shoulder. So since we're not doing hands, we're just doing legs mainly. When he comes in to do a front kick, we'll look at this step. And the main thing is not which side is best, but that you go to the side. Now yesterday we started in what position? Infinity. Now I'm going to make it harder. Separate your feet. Now moving to the 8 directions is going to be a little tougher, because you actually have to shift and shift again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you're using twice as much time as you would have used in the infinity position, because you've got to do a double shift just to take a step. And that's because your feet are separated. So when he comes through, you've got to definitely jump.
When?
Right. Hold that position.
So you go off your knee on it.
You have to touch me. Going around.
Be sure you give me something to evade. I'm gonna like this. Okay, with a shoe on, it's a good spot right under the arm. Even if your other hand is up, put your other hand up. Because I'm gonna come in this way. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Stay there.
Maybe you got it pin up?
Over this way. Then we have this one, comes over his, stay. I just want them to see here. and it'll be a very bad kick. Okay, I can't go in that side because of the hand. Then from this side, coming over, this will be, and it can be higher.
Come on.
Okay.
Look at monkey.
Then you've got,
Hello. You want to use that as a chair?
Yeah.
See, that would work really good.
let's see where it's going. Then you have the insertions. This side, when you come over, you've got the other hand up, so the insertion will be different.
Probabilities, right? Someone
Or-
will have a skill and flexibility.
Or
Yeah. I think most people are trained.
that gives you
Yeah,
that
kick like that.
when you're going.
Yeah, this is high.
Yeah.
Okay?
I just got low.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still
exactly.
going?
But it's
Yep.
also just probabilities, like you need a lot of people.
Okay, so
Yeah, so you've got easy.
high.
Right, relatively.
Good. And this is if he does a cross, you come here, right? That gives you this. These are all good kicks. Because if he does cross and you get over it, he'll run into it. Same as this. So that's a run into it punch.
Right.
This is a run into it kick.
And you can also put the knee in there too. Or
Yeah.
down to it. Yeah.
It's this idea what you see in Taiji, but it's a sideward address. And you have that. It works particularly good as a stabbing kick into the ribs. You know, it does work at a good middle height,
Yeah.
not just at the ankle. And obviously, if you've got the other hand there, you come through with it. Yeah. You have to have that. Okay.
What about the crescent? Did you do the crescent for the?
We did.
Yeah. Okay. Did you do the knee?
Yeah, we did the knee.
Okay.
We didn't show this. This kind of repeating kick on the kidney, which they do in Malaysia. Around there. Helpful. Okay. And then all of these from the back, when you do that diamond shape,
Right.
they can be done with that.
Yeah.
But they'll work remarkably well like that. Okay. And then the scoops, always scoop in the direction of this foot. Okay. So you don't need to try to lift it, but you need to pull it so its stance is elongated, so it will look like this. And you have to, hopefully he'll try to scoot away a little. Yeah, and then, okay. You just move it that way. So there are real questions, not just stand with your feet separated. There's real questions of positioning in relation to his body and what's happening with the shoulder when you position. Okay. Even this. I'm still not using my arms yet. I just want you to see the essential positioning here. Because it's much easier to get the skill of the legs and body if you forget the arms for a little while. Because they really complicate things quickly. And of course, if you're here, you can kick this out that way. So have a sense of the lateral movement and the insertion. Lateral movement, insertion. If you're worried about the hand, hold both hands up. If you're worried about the hands, just be sure one hand is up when you go in. If you're concerned about that. Here, here, here. This is a bodyguard technique where you go in this way and you just start walking. Okay. And you're in there torso at such an angle as you'll keep them off balance as long as you maintain pressure. The nice thing is if you have a pistol or a sword or a knife, you have access to it while you're moving.